Okay, that's not gonna.
Okay,
Welcome to March 4th Precal class.
How about have it way down there by where Alex is and the back table is. There you go.
Wow.
So how do you have a copy of this on your own computer?
I don't know, Nathaniel.
Citrix receiver.
Yes, that's what it was. He told me to download it.
Great. Good.
What is that?
So,
I didn't unmap.
Nathaniel, tell us about Citrix receiver.
So,
Say it loud, Fred, so everybody can hear, and the camera can hear you.
camp.
So Tova and Alina, tell everybody so nobody's taken by surprise here.
We're filming for Caroline and Holly, all the Precal classes
And
this
then we'll
week.
be doing the same the week after spring break for us. So, yep.
So wave.
Oh.
Alright, so Nathaniel.
You're in the center of the camera, by the way.
So, on Moodle, at the top of the main page, there's a list of services from the technology group. One of them is XEN app. If you click on the link next to it, it takes you to this page. If you've never been there before, it says download now, this receiver. So you click on that, and then it brings you to this web page where they have a whole bunch of download options. You go find Citrix receiver, download that, then you go back to the page that you got to from Moodle. You click continue after you downloaded it, then you log in with your username and password for the school. It brings up a page with all the school's programs like MathCAD, Photoshop, those kinds of things. You click on MathCAD, and if you have the other thing downloaded and installed successfully, it should run.
And so now do you have to do that every time you try to use MathCAD? Just once?
So once you've downloaded it, you go to the website and click on MathCAD, and it'll work every time.
We use spelling puzzles.
It
Right,
also,
go ahead.
I was gonna say it also has the stuff that you saved at school because I used the map that we made that one to help me with the project, so I had it like on the Citrix receiver.
Yeah. Once you get it, when you like click save and such, it'll save it to your school documents rather than the documents on that computer that you're using. So if you go to school, you can get to it, and it's harder to get stuff that's on your computer.
So now, are you a Mac user or a PC?
I'm a PC user, but they have the client for Windows and Mac. It
Okay.
doesn't matter which one you use.
Okay.
So I also use MathCAD, but I talked to Mr. Ebert about it, and he said that only 5 people can get on the receiver to get to MathCAD. So like, if everyone in the class tries to do it, not everyone can actually access MathCAD.
Right.
Half
So,
the time is true, yes.
right. So the school has 5 Citrix servers, 6 copies of the program or whatever. So only 5 people can do it at once. Now the good thing for you is that I think me and Mr. Ebert are the only ones who use MathCAD. So, you know, unless you all decide to wait till 11 o'clock the night before something is due, then it should work out okay. So that is and I think if it started to be used all the time, they would get more licenses. I think the problem right now is they don't think anybody uses it. Of course they don't because nobody knows about it. Okay, so so I knew about it. I just didn't know how you got to it. So that's useful. And what we could do is next day 6 we could have a little tutorial, and we can all come in here and bring our computers that day, and or we could pick some other day and all come in and let Nathaniel and Rena know how to do it, and Marie knows how to do it. Help us all, because it means like you can get to other school software. So if there's other stuff that you're using in the labs, then you get to have it too. All right. So after a lot of wailing, and you all, I tell you what, I'm going to bop every one of you. And I'm going to bop you, bop you, bop you.
What does that mean? What?
What does that mean?
Like hit
Every time, everything. Oh my God. Oh, it's so hard. Oh, I don't get it. Da, 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 da.
Did we do that?
Oh yes. Oh yes. So I'm having none of it. You can tell me how hard it is. I'm not believing a word you tell me from now on. This gig is up. All right. Jack. Jack, I want you to put 4B from the white page on the board, please. Emma. I want you to put 5C from the yellow page up. Irene, I want you to put 5A from the yellow page. Yes. Tova, those were the only three I had put going up. Dina,
Guys,
Nathaniel.
problems up. Can you put them on the two boards in the corner instead of the
Yeah,
two
we're
on the
trying to
edge?
stick to these 2 boards. So sit the end or do something. Nathaniel. Sujata. Alex. Rena. Carol. Oh, Carol's not here. Alina. Marie. Oops, sorry. Go ahead. Hank. Okay, Emma, we're not going down there, we're coming over here.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, good question. Who's taking notes today? Who took notes on Friday?
I took notes on the 28th, which was Thursday.
Who took notes on Friday? Who's after Marie?
Emma.
Who did? Emma, did you take notes on,
No, I haven't taken it in a while.
does that mean nobody took notes on Friday?
We
You
had
had
the
the
test
test
on
Friday.
Friday.
Oh, no wonder we didn't have to take notes. Let's, Emma, you're taking notes today, girl.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm gonna do 4A. Okay, so 4A asked us, I was so excited when I watched the news the night before the test, or 2 nights before the test, and Diane Sawyer was talking about the Titanic and talked about how much a first class ticket costs, because they get ready to have a new Titanic. I think it's gonna sail in 2015.
Nobody's gonna go.
Well, you take a more southerly route, it's just not, you're not going through the,
But still.
Yeah,
Maybe that's enough, lots of
There's gonna be,
things.
there's gonna be 3 classes just like there was then, and so anyway,
is it gonna be whole hour?
I don't know what it is, but I know they have set up the inside so it looks like the original Titanic, in terms of the staterooms and the party rooms and all that stuff. So, back in the day, 1912, a first class ticket cost $4,000, that's when $4,000 was a lot of money. When they do that, they're saying now those are gonna sell for $70,000. So that was the way we would set up this equation. If we did continuous, if you wanted to do annual, you could say you could do it that way. Okay, so either way, you get slightly different answers because this would be an annual rate compounded annually, and this is an annual rate compounded continuously. So this number is a little bit smaller than this number. Okay, who put this one up for me?
All of me.
Okay, Jack, talk to us.
So, since we're trying to find the doubling time, I used the continuous equation and then made it equal to 8,000. And then when you divide both sides by 4,000, you get 2 equals e to the 0.0283t, which is the general doubling time equation. And then I ln both sides to get this for ln2. And then that cancels out, so you get 0.0283t. Divide both sides by 0.0283. And you got 24.459 years.
Good morning. I have Holly Caudle and Caroline Wexler out. They are Madriding. Correct. Yes. All right, thank you. Bye-bye. All right, anybody have any questions for Jen? Okay, 5A.
So in this one you just have to solve for x algebraically. So you can rewrite this part as ln of x minus 2 times 2x minus 3. Or then I exponentiated both sides so that you can cancel that out. And this is just distributed out. And then you can move the 2 here over there, so you get e to the ln of x squared. So then you can cross out the e and the ln. And then you get x squared equals 2x squared minus 7x plus 6. And you can change that into a quadratic equation to make it equal 0. And then you factor it out and solve it. You get 2 answers, but to check to make sure that they work. Neither of them are negative, so they both work there, but you have to plug it into these things because they have to be greater than 1 or 0.
Greater than 0.
Yeah, so I just put both answers into this natural log and also into this natural log to see if they would work. And when I plugged it in there, it was ln of -1, so that one doesn't work. So the answer is x equals 6.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote x equals 6 or 1, and then I crossed out the 1, and I just wrote x equals 6, and then you said y.
Right.
Because it's negative.
How do I know that? Where'd you show me that?
Oh.
Okay. All right, questions for Irene? Dina?
Wait, on the second step, are you saying like e to the ln and then you're raising that to the x minus 2 times 2 minus 3, or is it like ln?
Oh, I think, yeah, I did that wrong. It shouldn't be in the next step.
Okay, all right, and who put up 5C for me?
Okay, so for this one, you do the reverse helicopter rule, and you can move the exponent down here and take the ln of 5 or of 3. So then you have 2 exponents 1 times ln 5 equals x minus 2 times ln 3. So then you distribute the ln 5 to each thing in the parentheses. So you have 2x times ln of 5 minus ln of 5 equals x times ln of 3 minus 2 times ln of 3. So then you want to get the x's on one side and the constants on the other. So you have 2x times ln of 5 minus x times ln of 3 equals 2 ln of 3 plus ln of 5. And then you want to get x by itself. So you factor out the x on this side. And you have x times 2 ln 5 minus ln 3 equals 2 ln 3 plus ln 5.
I think you're not reading the isn't there a negative in the front of that 2 on the right hand side? I think that's not just a little mark on the board. I think that's actually a negative.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Okay, and then you just divide by this quantity to get x by itself. So you have x equals -2 ln 3 plus ln 5 divided by 2 ln 5 minus ln 3.
All right. questions for Emma? Thank you very much. Other questions? Okay, let's have a PSA. Okay, what's PSA stand for? Public service announcement, okay? This is a public service announcement for your teachers. So, when you start thinking about applying to college, we're going to college, right? Yeah? Okay. Your parents don't want you hanging around when you turn 18. They want you to go do something. Or you're applying to summer programs, and you need recommendations. Here is what we do not do. We do not send an email to a teacher asking for a recommendation. And we do not say, oh, this is an easy form to fill out, because you don't have to really do very much. It's quick. You got to check the form and write a paragraph. Because my response to you, if I'm writing your recommendation, is, okay, I'll do that, but for everybody else who's asked me and given me enough lead time, I'm writing a letter. So you don't want your teacher to simply fill out the form and write a paragraph, when what they're doing for everybody else is writing a page or a page and a half and like looking stuff up and good things like that. I know, especially that the humanities people here just write so well, but I'm sure even though they write well, I bet it takes them just as long to write as it takes me to write, and you should figure it's going to take somebody 2 hours at least to write your college recs, okay, or your summer intern recs. So you want to make sure that you give people at least 2 weeks notice, okay? The definition of 2 weeks notice does not include asking on the weekend before spring break, and it's due on the Saturday of spring break. We're on break too. Okay, I mean, I had people, when I was at Science Math, I had people come up to me 2 days before winter break. Oh, Miss Doyle, would you write me my college recommendation? I'm like, did you just now decide to go? Now that it's December 15th, you're going to go to college? Some teachers will do it. And usually the ones who ask me 2 days before winter break were the ones who didn't do real red hot, and they're like scrounging around trying to find somebody to write their recommendation. But it's easy to tell a kid no at the last minute like that, or that it's going to be in January 15th, not January 1st. So you want to be sure that you are planning carefully if you're doing summer internships and when you get ready to go to college. Most of us are happy to write for you, especially if you do real well in our class. The definition of real well could be you made a B plus but you worked hard, okay? Or you had a B minus at the beginning of the year and you had a B plus at the end of the year. Teachers can write about that. There's lots of stuff you can say in circumstances like that. You don't have to have an A plus to get a teacher to write you a good recommendation. But you do want to give yourself the opportunity to have the very best recommendation that you can get. And the way you do that is you give people at least 2 weeks notice, and one of those weeks can't be a break. And that you give them your resume, why you're interested in the program, what the program is about, stuff like that, so that people have a chance to know you the very best they can, okay? So I know you're sophomores, and maybe you're just now starting to think about summer programs, and maybe it may not be till next year, but just sort of put that in the back of your brain so that you can get the very best recommendations that you can get, because summer programs and things like that are really helpful to you down the road, okay? And this goes for college too. There was a thing on the news just this morning that said that college students who had paid, and it actually said paid in the second time, which is interesting, that if they got paid internships, 63% of them got jobs when they finished college. If they did not, only 40% of them got jobs, which frankly I didn't think 63% was such a good number either. But that's pretty interesting. So that you want to make sure that you're looking out for those opportunities. Plus they're also interesting. Just keep that in mind. Okay, cool beans. Now let's go back. Now we're going to talk about math and a PSA. Let's go back to the night before, 2 nights before the test, Wednesday night, I asked you to graph 1 over sine x and 1 over cosine x. So let's pull that out. Erase these boards. Now, since we want to do basically the way you did this next time, and then you wouldn't have to get it broken down. So, look with your group mates, see what they got.
Mine looks like that.
Yep.
Very sooner tonight. You also start mentioning this. Here it is. Yeah, basically.
Alright, so there's the sine curve. What does, who can put up the, 1 over sine? Tova. Get orange chocolate, girl. I gave you some orange chocolate right here. Sorry. Isn't that the best part? Oh, she just zinged me on that one.
I'm sorry.
Who's gonna, while she's doing that, who's gonna come over here and, pink? You get pink. Okay. So wait, are you, how come you're not making those negative ones touch? Because you don't like the way I do my sine curve?
Oh, I mean,
Yeah, right.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, so fix my sine curve. Here, fix my sine curve. All right, do people agree with what Tova's got up there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, okay. All right. What's your thinking, Tova?
well, it's 1 over the sine of x, so, it will the smaller it gets, the whenever it's the zeros, but, well, maybe we get bigger because it's 1 over the smaller one below 1 and negative 1, so we'll do the same thing on the negatives.
Because the reciprocal of those numbers between 1 and -1 get really big, right? Okay. Terrific. All right, Hank, you're good, Tova, thank you.
So it's basically similar to that one, except shifted to the left a half pi, I guess, because asymptotes where it's 0 and when it's 1 or -1, it's the same, and then when it gets close to 0, it gets bigger, either positive or negative.
All right, we agree with that one? Okay, cool, thank you. So, this guy is, f of x is 1 over the sine of x. And that actually has a name. It's called the cosecant function, which we abbreviate CSC. one that is the,
Secant.
yes, this one that is 1 over cosine is the secant function, which we abbreviate SEC. Okay, would you, and did I ask you to do domain range period on these?
Yep.
Okay, let's do domain range period for these graphs. Is it a question or an answer?
Answer.
Okay, let's give everybody else a chance to think, okay? See if your group mates agree with you. Seeing if they agree very quietly, is that?
Telepathy.
You must be having ESP or something.
The Monday morning mode of communication. So I said for cosecant domain is all real numbers x is not equal to k pi. Range, the absolute value of x is greater than
What about
y.
that all real numbers and x does not
Yep.
equal 0?
Yep. And then for the range, absolute value of y is greater than or equal for both.
Or y does not equal.
What?
Is that
Well, I know there's like.
is greater than 1? Yes.
Y is greater than or equal to 1.
Wait.
And then would you say the period one?
Oh, period?
Okay,
Oh,
read it. You
period
told
is,
us you
that's
wanted to
right.
tell us about cosecant.
That's why you
Is that
said
true?
2 pi. For both of them it's 2
But I don't
pi.
know if it's right anymore.
Yeah, because it
Oh,
corresponds
dear.
exactly
Oh,
with,
wait, no.
Okay,
Well,
well,
tell us what your group said, then you can blame it on them, okay?
okay, wait, what did we agree with? Well,
Tell me which one is the easiest, which one's the first one you want to tell me about?
the range is the easiest.
Okay, and so what's the range?
Y is greater than 1 or y is less than 1. Or equal to, sorry.
Okay, so y is greater than,
Or equal to.
equal to 1, or,
Less. Y is less than or equal to -1.
okay, yes.
would it be acceptable to say the absolute value of y is greater than or equal to 1?
Yep, I knew you were gonna say that because you always like to say it that way. Yes, that's just fine. Okay, so what Alex likes to say is absolute y is greater than or equal to 1. Okay, still gives you those two pieces. All right, what's the next easy thing?
The period,
Okay,
which is 2 pi.
are you sure?
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No? The 2 pi? How do you know?
Isn't it always 2 pi over time?
Good.
But you can like count them. Like if you look from 0.
Okay, it's always okay, we want, the definition of period is how far do we have to go in the x's to use up all the y's that we're ever gonna use up, right? To get the pattern. So we need a guy going up, and we need a guy going down. So it takes me 2 pi to get that,
Because
okay? All right, who's gonna tell me Oh.
I try.
Sure.
I don't know if it's right, so don't laugh at me if I get it wrong.
All right.
Okay, so so all real numbers and x does not equal